Hey everyone, welcome back to Integrative Psychonautics. So today's video is going to be a bit of a share, a bit of kind of riff and unpacking of some of my changing thoughts about the topic of psychedelic preparation in specific. So this is one of these topics where there is just tons of material out there online, lots of different schools of thought about it. And up till now, I've generally had what I've felt are pretty standard points of view on preparation, including, intention setting, this kind of a thing. But I'm starting to get a little bit of a change of perspective, change of opinion here. And I thought I would share it with you just for, maybe your own edification, your own education here. I don't want to make any hard claims that I've made up my mind or that this is the way or anything like that, but I have some food for thought for you that I thought would be really interesting to just share and discuss here on the channel. So let's talk about it. So just for quick context sake here, in case you're someone who's absolutely new to psychedelics and the structure of psychedelic therapy or intentional use of psychedelics, and you're not really familiar with the different phases of how it goes, let me just kind of explain preparation a little bit and kind of the common understandings, best practices, that kind of a thing that you're likely to encounter online. I apologize to anyone who's kind of a veteran and knows a lot about it, but I just want to get everyone up to speed so we're on the same page here. So generally speaking, in psychedelic therapy or in intentional use, ceremonial use of psychedelics, you're going to find three phases. You're going to find a preparation phase before you take the psychedelics, which could last, even, months or a month or weeks or a few days before the session. But generally it's a period of time before the session where you're really kind of starting to focus in on the session, orient yourself towards what's going to happen in the experience, what you want to get out of the experience, and kind of start to prepare yourself for what can be a very powerful transformative experience. The second phase, of course, is taking the medicine, having the actual experience with the psychedelic. And then the third phase would be kind of what I call the aftercare phase, where we're kind of looking at helping you reground and plug back into reality, helping you make sense of some of the things you experienced, and doing any integration work if any really useful, powerful pieces of insight or breakthrough kind of arose out of that. Okay, so that's a general structure. Generally speaking, when it comes to preparation, there's a lot of different things that can be discussed, but generally I would say a lot of the information is kind of drawn from indigenous concepts about preparation. And it's generally forms of focusing your attention, setting an intention, generally preparing your body to be clean and capable to have the best experience possible. So that might be like a dieta with ayahuasca, or that might be something like just generally fasting or cleansing or adjusting your diet. This might mean things like abstaining from caffeine or stimulants or, TV and media, or abstaining from sex, stuff like that, kind of preparing yourself, purifying yourself. It might mean kind of creating a set of prayers or a set of things you want to reflect on or think about during the experience, and kind of putting all of that into kind of a focused way of engaging with the medicine, so that you're not just willy-nilly YOLOing a bunch of mushrooms down the hatch and then getting totally overwhelmed when you're confronted with a bunch of stuff that you haven't been thinking about. So preparation is often considered part of set and setting, especially the set part of set and setting, where you're really dialing in your unconscious mind, your mindset to be prepared to have this potent, profound experience. Now, generally speaking, most of the preparatory stuff is pretty basic, kind of, dare I say, a little woo-woo, a little touchy-feely, a little just general self-care kind of stuff, don't be a dummy and be, out on a drinking binge or out on a drug binge and, watching a bunch of horror movies and a bunch of crazy stuff and then expect that not to come through during the journey, right? And don't eat a bunch of junk food and McDonald's and expect to feel great the day of the journey, et cetera, et cetera. It's kind of just basic, take care of yourself and get ready. And the big emphasis in the psychedelic therapy community is on intention and the importance of intention setting. And this is really what I want to talk about, and where I'm starting to have a difference of opinion or kind of a new insight that I want to share with you. So let's get into the insight part of this. So as I was just saying, in psychedelic therapy, there's this big emphasis put on setting an intention and what is a proper intention. And I've learned things about intention setting that I've even shared here on the channel. Like there are studies that show that when we have a more fixing intention, like I want to get to the root of the problem, I want to figure out what my issue is, I want to understand why I have this issue, those kinds of intentions tend to correlate with more difficult experiences than if we tend to kind of set an intention like, I'd like to connect with the medicine, I'd like to connect with life, I'd like to feel better, I'd like to learn whatever it is I need to learn, or experience whatever it is I need to experience. More open-ended, more kind of affirming, more positive intentions seem to deliver better experiences. But here's the real problem that I'm starting to see. The problem is that pretty much without fail, no matter how you think the medicine journey is going to go, it almost never goes the way you intend or expect it to. And so this whole idea of intention setting, well, I think is generally kind of positive and useful and nice to kind of, organize yourself in a way in relationship to the medicine that's humble, that's respectful, that's open, that's curious, that's kind of flexible. The problem is that you really have no idea what your unconscious mind or the medicine, or if you want to think of it in like a more spiritual terms, like what spirit, the divine teacher or teachers want to show you. You have no idea before you take the medicine what that's going to be and how it's going to assemble all the things that you've been thinking about and working on and working through and unpacking, how all of that's going to get assembled into some sort of insight or experience, whether this is a somatic embodied experience or a more cognitive like learning aha moment, or an emotional experience like a big release of emotions. You have no idea, right? And so it presents this interesting problem of, why are we setting intentions if we have no idea what the tone of the experience is going to be, what the focus is going to be, what we're going to learn, what our unconscious mind or our deeper self or our higher self, however you want to think of that, wants to show us and wants to assemble out of all the things kind of circulating in our current experience. It's uncanny how unpredictable it is, right? And so for me, this starts to imply perhaps a different set of approaches to preparation than really focusing on intention setting. Not that intention setting's bad, but just maybe that it's not really delivering us what we are hoping it will, right? And so I don't think you can look at the psychedelic brain and the psychedelic experience and really anticipate that you're going to lead it or steer it or control it all that well. Maybe in journey, sometimes you can learn how to navigate from there, but I don't think you can really, predict or therefore really steer or control what's going to come up initially, right? So here's what I'm proposing might be a better way to do preparation work. And this is where my head's starting to go, how I'm starting to think about it. And again, this is all subject to change because I might go to a training, or I am going to a training, but I might go to this training I'm about to do and be shown a whole other thing that rewrites my understanding of this. So this is totally subject to change. But what I do know is that there are a set of skills, of navigating skills, that most people don't have a good grasp of or don't have at all, that make all the difference in terms of successfully working with whatever arises and what comes up. And it seems to me that time and effort and attention would be better spent in terms of preparing with learning how to, develop these skills in ourselves. For you, I mean, I already have them. So I guess, for you, learning how to develop these skills so that you are more confident to navigate and adapt to whatever arises, so that instead of setting an intention and then diving into a chaotic system of your brain on psychedelics and hoping that you get what you wished for, basically, I think it makes more sense to teach you how to surf the waves of the chaotic brain and how to be adaptive in that environment and how best to navigate working with your system in that state, rather than just, setting an intention. I mean, yes, generally speaking, settings, super important. Good diet's really smart. Good sleep, journaling out things that you care about or that are on your mind, having, doing some good therapeutic work has been clearly valuable for a lot of my clients before you get into, the medicine space. All of that I think is really useful. But I think also along with that, learning the navigation skills. And what I'm saying, there's probably, I would say, 5 different processes that I would like to start taking people through before they take medicine that might help them to be more prepared to work with what comes up. So there's some mindsets involved there. There's some kind of nervous system skills that if you don't know what they are, they can be a blind spot that can kind of overwhelm you. But when you know what they are and you know how to work with them, it helps you to work with the medicine so much more smoothly. So my mind is starting to move towards this is a better way of preparing. Preparation involves skill building for navigating the kind of complex system, the big wave surfing, if you will, of the psychedelic state. And so I like that better. But I guess I'm curious. I guess I'm kind of filming this just to share my ideas, like I said, but also to ask you, what do you think? Does that make more sense to you than setting an intention and hoping that intention filters through into what you actually experience on journey? I'd also love to know, by the way, since I'm asking here, how often has your journey gone in alignment with your intention, so that you set an intention and then you have a journey, and maybe in hindsight you see how there's a line of connection there's some clear line of logic there, but how often when you're in a journey you're like, oh, this is exactly what I was hoping I would experience? In my experience, that's pretty rare. It can happen. I'm not saying it's never happened to me, but I would say that's more the exception than the rule. So anyways, those are my thoughts as I currently have them about intention setting in specific, and preparation in general. So I would love to know what you think. Leave a comment below. I think I'm going to wrap the video here. I don't want to go on too long about it. And again, this is all subject to change. Again, in a few months after, all my trainings are done, I might have something totally different to say about preparation. But for now, it seems to me that the missing piece is more like a set of nervous system skills that if people have, you're probably going to feel more comfortable, more safe, more confident, and more open to the experience. It doesn't mean it's necessarily going to be any less challenging or overwhelming or surprising. Every time you take psychedelics, it really can be unique and different and, never quite what you expected. But I think if you know how to dynamically move with the unexpected, you're more likely to get better results. So anyways, those are my thoughts on prep for the moment. Thank you for watching. Much love to you all, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Take care.